Good morning, and Merry Christmas. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church in Eugene. My name is Phyllis O'Neill. I use the pronouns she and her, and I am this morning's worship associate. If today is your first time with us, we'd love to get to know you. Right after the service, you're welcome to come to our welcome room, which is on the south entrance of the church. And if you're online, the link to the visitor form is being dropped into the chat now. As you enter the sanctuary and at any time during the service, you may write your joys and sorrows in the book, light a candle, or place a stone in the water on the table back in the corner. And those joining from home can write their joys and sorrows into the Zoom chat, which will be open until the start of the sermon. And during the week, anyone can go to the pastoral care portal on the website and to let our ministers know that you need some support. We gather and worship to find meaning and to live more deeply. Worship creates connections within, among, and beyond us, calling us to our better selves, calling us to live with wisdom and compassion. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever your image of the holy, we're glad you're here. And now we'll be lighting our chalice. We light the chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, with words from Soul Matters. Pulled in many directions by the demands of our days, we light this chalice to remind us of the still point deep inside. Made unsteady by the winds of unpredictable paths, we light this chalice to remember the shelter of each other. Longing for lights that lead us back to our truest selves, we light this chalice to illuminate the faces of friends and sacred companions, recalling once again that we find our way through the willingness to take each other's hand. And now, let us say together the words of our mission, which affirms our shared purpose. Empowered by love, we transform ourselves and serve our world.
Merry Christmas. My name is Tina DeYoe, and I use she, her pronouns, and I am your ministerial intern for this year. And I wish I could be there with y'all this morning on Christmas Day. However, COVID finally got me, and I am preaching this message with help from all of our awesome worship team, and I will be delivering my messages from home this morning. So our worship today is a message that comes from the town of Bethlehem in Palestine. It is a message of looking back on the history of a story of a miraculous birth, of a revolutionary figure during the time of an empire's rule. Any day a baby is born is a miraculous day. Today's message is also a message that looks at the reality of present-day Bethlehem while learning the hard truths of what people really are experiencing there on a daily basis. This is the exact land where Jesus, the Prince of Peace, was born. These people living in Bethlehem, living in the West Bank, living in Gaza, do not get to live life in peace. Instead, they are living their lives under the occupation of an apartheid government system and behind separation walls. Today's message is also a message that looks forward at what can be if we all lay down our swords and pick up plowshares together. This plowshare work is exactly what the joint advocacy initiative in the YMCA and YWCA of Bethlehem and East Jerusalem is doing in their campaign named Keep Hope Alive, the Olive Tree Campaign. This is the group I went with and worked in solidarity with in the West Bank. We worked in solidarity with Palestinian farmers to plant olive trees and harvest olives in order for these farmers to be able to keep their Zone C land, which falls under the military occupation of Israel. Today's message is about recognizing humanity in everyone as we break down the barriers and walls that separate us from one another. Advent, this time that we have been in, the time that we have been waiting for this miraculous birth, gives us the justice tools of hope, peace, love, joy, and light, to knock down the walls that separate and divide us as people of this world. As we celebrate Christmas today, this morning, let us remember that our liberation is bound with the liberation of others in this world, including the Palestinians. This morning, as we explore our theme of knocking down walls of separation, we physically have set up here in our worship space a table that demonstrates these separation walls and the candles of Advent that represent justice tools of hope, peace, love, joy, and light. Each time this morning we light an Advent candle in this service, we will be knocking down a piece of the wall that represents the struggles of oppression, division, and war in our world that are represented by the struggles in Palestine, the birthplace of Jesus, which knew its struggles then as well. Come, let us worship together on this Christmas morning. Merry Christmas! So today is Christmas, right? Super exciting, celebrating, hanging out with family, friends, opening gifts, giving gifts, right? And we know that in the Christian religion, they celebrate Christmas as the birth of Jesus, who they believe is the Son of God, right? And Jesus was a cool guy. He taught some really awesome lessons. He taught us to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. And he taught us to even love our enemies. And so that is some of what Jesus taught us to do. And Jesus was born in a place called Bethlehem, which is over in Palestine. And so the birthplace of Jesus and Jesus's birth, we are celebrating today. And we're celebrating the love that he shared with many people, and taught many people. And in this place called Bethlehem, there is a wall that surrounds Bethlehem that prevents people in Bethlehem, kids and adults, from being able to go see their family and friends on the other side of that wall, which is super unfortunate. And so today in the service, we have our wall pieces, and they're up front in the sanctuary, and you can see them up there. But these are the wall pieces. And today, as we light our Advent candles for hope, peace, love, joy, and light, we're going to knock down pieces of this wall and build some bridges, which I think is really cool, because we want to build bridges, not walls, right, between people. So the people in Bethlehem, I've been there and I've seen this wall, and they have graffitied the wall. They've put a bunch of beautiful art on it. They've put some stories on it. And so I'm going to share a story that is on the wall in Bethlehem from a teenager. So this story is by Majd, a teenager from Bethlehem. Bethlehem, a holy city, a place where all kinds of people are welcome. It's my hometown, a place where I can relax, a safe place, a place of religion, a wonderful place, a place I want to build my future, my better life. Finalize my high school education and hopefully become a veterinarian. Bethlehem is an open prison. In my future, it is a place of freedom, a place known for its hospitality for everyone, especially tourists, a place where people bond and talk and be free. And that's written by a teenager in Bethlehem. So that is Majd's story from Bethlehem. And I also want to put some of the stickers of the art and the graffiti art that is up on the wall, on our wall today. So this one says, "Love wins." I'm gonna put that right there. Oh, and we knocked it down, right? We're gonna knock down the wall during our service today. This one says, "Happy Christmas" from Bethlehem. So we'll put that there on a piece of the wall. And as we light our Advent candles, we're gonna knock down the wall and build the bridges towards the Nativity, which is where Jesus was born. Let's see, what other stickers can we put on this wall? Ooh, a dove, which represents peace, right? And we also have these amazing olive branches from Marlene in our congregation and from her olive tree, which is a symbol of peace. So we want to put peace all around this wall. And we have this picture of maybe Mary and Jesus, or a mother and child. So let's put that one on there. And this is all graffiti from the wall. And then, look at this. We have a kid with balloons who is wanting to rise up above the wall, right? So let's put that there and knock down the wall. And then once we knock down the wall, we can build the bridges to love, hope, peace, joy, and light, the teachings that Jesus had taught us in this world. So carry those love, peace, joy, and light and hope with you this day, and share that with others. So share all of your light and love with others in this world. So Merry Christmas. Bye.
So we light our Advent candle of hope. Fill us and give us hope enough to knock down the walls and barriers that divide and separate us. We just traveled to Bethlehem, where love is born anew each day. So we light the peace candle. Fill us and give us peace enough to knock down the walls and barriers that divide and separate us. Let us travel to Bethlehem, where love is born anew each day.
In 2014, Bethlehem's Christmas motto was, "All I want for Christmas is peace." Vera Baboon, Bethlehem's mayor at the time, wrote, "We urge you, people of conscience throughout the world, to intervene to stop this siege of Bethlehem." Today, in 2022, this wish still hasn't been granted. As we look toward solutions for peace and solidarity with Palestinians, we need to stretch our understanding, our capacity for imagination to comprehend some of this history that goes back millennia, not just hundreds of years. The Church of the Nativity sits in front of a large square. There's been a church there for 1,600 years as a place of celebration of the birth of Jesus. Across the square is the Mosque of Omar. This open space was once the largest marketplace for first the village and then the city. Whether the church was built, whether the marketplace came after the church, who knows at this point. But it was a very lively trading center where buyers and sellers were negotiating deals for fruits, vegetables, animals, other goods. It was also a place where travelers would have found stables nearby where they could have bedded down close to their animals, and mangers where a newborn might be laid to rest. So, also facing this square, this beehive activity, was from very early a prison and police station. So a kind of a dark shadow where under foreign domination, people were arrested and interrogated and sometimes tortured, and by the very presence of this edifice, people were reminded that they were under subjugation, and their lives were subject to the capricious rule of these outside forces. In 1994, after the birth of the Palestinian Authority, the building was demolished once again, and its ruins were built with what is called, the Peace Center was built there, a multi-purpose complex that hosts workshops, courses, festivals, concerts, and exhibitions for locals and foreigners, with a focus on programs for children and youth. In a land that is so holy and sacred to the Abrahamic religions, the paradox that peace is so absent is a bit confusing and sad. Yet the Palestinian people clearly struggle every day to make peace a reality in their lives. Vera Baboon, the mayor, spoke again in December 2015 at a press conference where she stated, quote, "From the city of peace that lives no peace, we are one injury, we are one pain, we are one tear, we are one joy." And because peace is absent, we wish victory to peace. May victory to peace be made so, because our own peace is bound up with the peace of others and the liberation of others in the world.
We light the love candle. Fill us and give us love enough to knock down the walls and barriers that divide and separate us. Let us travel to Bethlehem, where love is born anew each day. Justice is what love looks like in public. A quote from Cornel West. A baby born in Bethlehem became a teacher and revolutionary. Jesus was quoted to have said in the Gospel of John, "I give you a new commandment, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also should love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are disciples if you have love for one another." Jesus focused his ministries on healing the sick and walking with those that were opposed by society. He showed these people love and compassion, lessons for us as we continue to think about the love we give to one another. Love that lacks judgment and makes room for redemption. Justice is what love looks like in public. Jesus also said in the Gospel of Matthew, "You have heard that it was said, you should love your enemies and pray for, you should love your enemies. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you." Jesus confronted, held accountable, and even showed compassion to those people in power who were exhibiting this power in unjust and oppressive ways. Whether it was the tax collector or the Pharisee, Jesus held these people accountable in love and righteous rage. Justice is what love looks like in public. The baby that was born in Bethlehem grew up and taught infinite love as a guiding principle for his disciples' lives. That same baby grew up to teach unconditional love as a guiding principle. All are worthy of redemption if they choose. Jesus taught this redemptive love in the parable of the prodigal son, a parable that spoke about unconditional love of a parent toward a child. Jesus taught a love that seeks accountability, justice, and redemption. Justice that is lived out through love, compassion, and empathy. It is important to remember justice is what love looks like in public. We light the Advent candle for joy. Fill us and give us joy enough to knock down the walls and barriers that divide and separate us. And let us travel to Bethlehem, where love is born anew each day.
My name is Ibrahim, and I was born and raised in a little town called Bethlehem on the west bank of the Jordan River. My family still lives there, most of them at least, and I've been here since I was 19 years old. part of what I brought with me is my culture, because you couldn't leave it behind. Since I was an 18-year-old, I had already absorbed so much of that culture. And the greatest thing that I absorbed is hospitality and kindness and generosity that my people, Palestinians, are known to value. It's the greatest attribute is generosity and kindness and hospitality. So I am here in Eugene, Oregon, and have been for a long, long time. And I just want to wish all of you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and just remind you all that kindness and generosity and hospitality is an amazing tool to use for spreading kindness throughout the world. So whether it's at my business, Cafe Soraya, or in individual encounters, I care very much to keep some of my culture alive, and the best features of it, of course, again, I think, are hospitality and kindness. So happy holidays to all of you. Thank you.
And we light the candle of light. Fill us and give us enough hope, peace, and love and light to knock down the walls and barriers that divide and separate us. Let us welcome you into Bethlehem. Let us fling wide the gates and welcome you into our hearts so we may be born anew.
Searching for light in a land filled with conflict. My reflections from my journey to Palestine. I get off the plane in Tel Aviv. Luckily, I am not strip searched. Yet so many Palestinians I know are subjected to complete strip searches upon entry. This is reality here for Palestinians. Strip searched in the airport of their own home. Where's the light? Where's the hope? I travel to Nazareth and meet with our Keep Hope Alive Olive Tree campaign group. We settle in and meet with our tour guide, Sadiq, whose name means friend. He is a Palestinian living within Israel. Sadiq invites us into his house for food and drink. Here, light shines bright. Sadiq shows us compassion and hospitality. We travel to the Sea of Galilee. We stop at the Church of the Beatitudes that was constructed on one of the hills that overlooks the Sea of Galilee, a possible site where Jesus could have preached the Sermon on the Mount. I see two young adults kissing and cuddling on the grounds. Here, light shines through love shared between two people. Yet this light is extinguished by a nun who tells these two to stop kissing and cuddling. Why are you extinguishing their light and their love, is what I want to say to her. Back in Nazareth, we hear Palestinian protesters in the street. Protesters who continue to protest the military occupation of Palestinian lives within Israel and within the West Bank and Gaza. Protesters wanting basic human rights, We join in the protest and yell alongside the Palestinians and watch the Palestinian flags wave high. Here, light shines in the darkness as righteous rage. Here, peace is sought through justice. The next day, we stop at Irket, a Palestinian Christian worshiping community near the border of Lebanon who still worship in their church on their church grounds that had been bombed during the 1948 creation of Israel. Palestinian youth, young adults, and elders all take turns occupying these church lands because if they leave, the land will be confiscated by the Israeli military. They take turns going to work or school or university. They take care of one another. This community worships together, hosts summer camps for kids, teaches the history of their town and their culture to their children, and they welcome in guests from all over the world with a warm drink and some food. They share their story with us. Here, the light of hope and resistance shines bright. We traveled to Bethlehem to meet our olive planting group. We come together as a group of internationals and local Palestinians. We partner together to plant olive trees on Palestinian farmers' land that has been unjustly confiscated by the Israeli military. We are given food and drink at these farmers' homes. Here, light shines bright in the shadow of darkness. Light shines through the joy of planting and being in solidarity with the Palestinian farmers and the group of internationals. Here, there is light, peace, and hope. We witness trees being torn up by Israeli military occupiers. We are blocked from planting trees on one farmer's land, even after that farmer shows the Israeli military his land deed. Where's the light? Where's the love? We witness the joy of cooking harissa with Palestinian women in their refugee camp. They teach us how to make this special Palestinian dessert. We share laughter and joy together as we cook, eat, and break bread with each other. Here, light shines bright through the joy of food. We end our time together as internationals and Palestinians who have worked together, planted, and harvested together. We end this time with a dinner of celebration and a presentation of the Palestinian dance with performers dancing the dabka. Working with literal plowshares and shovels in solidarity with Palestinian farmers was the embodiment of peace and light for me. Feeling connected to the land, my body, and the people of Palestine and all over the globe is the spark of light that will never be extinguished inside of me. This spark of light will continue to grow as it connects with other sparks of light, fighting for justice and in solidarity work that is so necessary in this world. This is the world I want to live in. I want to live in a world where plowshares and food are shared freely amongst one another. I want to live in a world where walls are knocked down and made into bridges. I want to live in a world where we can hold each other accountable in love. I want to live in a world where infinite, unconditional, and redemptive love exists and is practiced. These are the messages of Christmas that we as UUs can take with us as we share our light with one another this day and every day. Amen, and may it be so, and Merry Christmas.
We we extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Just a reminder that the church office will be closed from December 23rd, so last week, until through January 1st. They'll be back in on January 2nd. And feel free to join us in the social hall after the service if you'd like. And as we go out of here on this Christmas day, may we be filled with justice tools of hope, peace, love, joy, and light. May we use these tools as we work in solidarity together to knock down the walls and barriers that divide and separate us from each other in this world. May we seek instead to build bridges with one another through these stories, food, hospitality, collaboration, and joy. May it be so. Let us go and share food and stories together. And Merry Christmas.